So we said Mourinho struggling, Spurs struggling, 6 points behind fourth place. It looks more unlikely now that they can qualify, not just because of the 6 points, but because they will have to overtake so many teams between where they are in seventh or whatever to that fourth place. What if they don't win the League Cup final against City? And what if they don't qualify for top 4? What do you do with Mourinho? He's got 2 more years left on his contract.
It's a big question, isn't it? You have to see who's out there, who could possibly come in. I think Brendan Rodgers would be an obvious, but then if Brendan comes in, that's another kind of rebuild. He'd have to reshape the squad to suit his needs. I just don't see Tottenham going anywhere particularly quickly under Mourinho, apart from down. They just,
yeah,
because
that's a good point.
A lot of the players that he has, his best players are attacking players, and he's not getting the best out of them. And eventually they'll grow frustrated. Everyone talks about Harry Kane and Dele Alli, but nobody talks about Son. How long will Son stay at Tottenham if he feels that they're not going anywhere? We saw how emotional he was after the game yesterday on Sunday. He's got 2 years left in his contract, I think. Yeah. One of the best attacking players in the Premier League, if not Europe. He gets, him and Harry Kane have got a fantastic partnership, but I can think of a lot of clubs in the Premier League and in Europe who would happily take Son this summer. Yeah. And maybe he might be interested, who knows? So Mourinho has to keep that squad together, keep it happy, and he's not doing that at the moment. And he has to get better results. So I just can't see Tottenham sacking Mourinho because the costs involved.
But don't you think that he looks as well that I'm not sure how many of those players still believe in what he wants them to do? I mean, I thought yesterday in the game, in the second half especially, United was so much better. Yeah. There was just nothing. There was no response from Spurs when Fred scored the first goal. There was nothing collectively. There was no strength. There was no structure going forward or defensively. There was just nothing. And I was there watching, and I'm thinking, okay, if I'm Harry Kane or Heung-Min Son or Hugo Lloris or whoever in that team, I'm like, what are we doing? What do we believe in? What kind of direction are we going in? And I really wonder how many of them is still behind Mourinho, still believe in what him and his staff can do, where he can take them, or how far he can take them.
Yeah, because Mourinho's got a great track record, but it's probably 10 years now since he was the great guy that he was. So a lot of those players in that Tottenham team, the younger players, would be thinking, well, this guy hasn't done it, while they were playing football. So he is beginning to feel like yesterday's man. So. This thing about players, losing respect for the manager losing the dressing room, I don't think that's happened at Tottenham. I think it's more a point that his tactics or his selections aren't designed, or they're not getting the best out of the players he has.
Yeah. But if you're a player and you see that,
yeah,
and you recognise, well, this is not what's good for us, kind of thing.
His teams for a long time have lacked adventure, haven't they? They've lacked that kind of ambition. And you look at the midfield at Tottenham, there's nobody there that you think can dominate a game, that can create space for Kane and Son and Lucas when he plays. There's no real flaw. They're a very workmanlike team. So they have got some of the best attacking players in Europe at Tottenham, but they're just not getting the ball to them. And I think that's because the way that Mourinho
could
plays.
do that. And Ndombele is that creative player. The problem is when he plays him deeper with Højbjerg, like he's done for the last 4 or 5 months, I think you miss what Ndombele could bring you in the last 30 yards, which you don't have because he's too deep.
Yeah. This is the problem with Mourinho. He's not going to change. He really isn't going to change now. I think, but it comes down to money, and we know that Tottenham have been hit very hard in the pandemic, much more than most clubs, because the NFL isn't being played at the ground. They've got to pay for the stadium. They've got they built that stadium to get more fans in. They've not had any fans coming in, and so Mourinho would cost a lot of money to pay off. He's got a big staff.
Yeah,
these things matter, and at some point the club have to think, well, if they're not in the Champions League, that's a massive blow. Sacking Mourinho would be a massive blow. How do they pay for that? Do they sell Harry Kane?
Yeah.
Well, maybe. I mean, I can't see. If they do sell Harry Kane, they've got to find a buyer. And we know that Daniel Levy's not going to say, yeah, you can have him for 100 million. If it's 150 million, then nobody's going to buy Harry Kane because the world right now, there's no money in the game. And you look at the teams that might be able to afford him. Well, Real Madrid have got other ideas. They want Erling Haaland. Barcelona the same. Bayern Munich might be a good move for Harry Kane, but Lewandowski's still going strong for the year or two.
Yeah.
So the only 2 clubs that you can think that would be in the market for Harry Kane would be the 2 Manchester clubs. But I'm not sure City would spend that on Harry Kane when they could maybe get Haaland, or maybe wait a year to get Mbappe for nothing.
Yeah.
And as for Man United, well, they might have the ambition to sign him, but if you're Harry Kane, signing for Man United is a sideways move, really, because if he wants to win trophies, you don't go to Man United right now to win trophies, do you? Because they're not a team that's winning trophies. They've got a coach who's in Solskjaer who's moved them forward, but they're a semi-final team.
Yeah.
as we keep seeing, or the second place.
But then he might help you to become that winning team, though. And that's how maybe you can sell him that project of like, look, this is where we've been, but with you, we could go to the next.
But that's a massive gamble for Harry Kane at 28.
Yeah, of course it is.
If he wants to move to win trophies, he has to, this move is at 28 this summer. This is a decisive time for his career. So would you risk the next 2 or 3 years by going to Man United? Paul Pogba did that 5 years ago, and he's only won 2 trophies.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you know, Man United are a big club, a great club, but right now they're not a club you go to win trophies.
No, you're right. I mean, there's something else that struck me during the game is how fit United were, because 8 of the 11 starters played against Granada on Thursday in the Europa League. Not that the Granada game was a super physical and exhaustive game. However, they still played, which was not the case of Spurs, who had a week off pretty much to prepare for this game. And yet, in the second half, United were so strong, so much fitter, with the direction, but more than that, physically, were so dominant. And I spoke to McTominay after the game, and he said this is credit to all the staff and the fitness coach, and which I get it, but still. And I wondered how much this fitness dominance was down to just the proper fitness, or if mentally they're just super strong as well, which then make you run faster and for longer and all of that.
I think it's both, and I think that the psychological side comes from winning games. You know, we've seen it before. When teams win games, they find that extra energy, don't they? And especially when teams aren't winning games like Tottenham, that it's easier to sag a little bit towards the end. But when Solskjaer came in, maybe 2.5 years ago now, one of the first things he realised was that the team just wasn't fit enough. They were staggered by the fitness levels of the team they inherited from Mourinho, which might explain why Tottenham.
Yeah.
So they worked on getting them fitter, and I think we're seeing that now. So credit to Solskjaer and his team, they've got the team a lot fitter, and they've moved out some of the players who they felt couldn't get fitter. They're a younger team now as well. So I think that is a big thing. Fitness is huge. We see it at Man City that they're the fittest team in the Premier League, and it shows because they're so far ahead of the rest. Yeah,
no, you're right. And I thought one of the players who emphasised that a lot, I mean, McTominay is always very fit and physical, but Paul Pogba was outstanding, I thought, from start to finish. And at the end, that assist for Greenwood, doing this in the 93rd or 4th minute after all the work that he's put into the game. I thought it was magnificent in a position on that sort of left-hand side of the 4-2-3-1 that, again, I tweeted before the game, I would love them to play with a diamond midfield and 2 up front, Cavani and Rashford. They played 4-2-3-1, it's okay. It was, as we've said, maybe one of United's best performances this season with Pogba at this kind of level. Even if Bruno is not as decisive, when you've got Pogba like this, it's a huge help.
Yeah, I think we spoke before about Messi, how he looks happier these days. And I think Pogba looks happier.
Yeah,
and
I
more
agree with you
content.
completely.
Now, why is that? Is that because he knows he's going in the summer? Who knows? I'm not sure he does. I think, again, a bit like Harry Kane, I don't know if there's a market for Pogba because of the financial climate. He looks happier. He maybe feels that finally Man United are going in the direction where he wants to be in terms of challenging for trophies. They're a long way short of Man City, but they are a long way ahead of the rest now.
Yeah.
So that they are the second best team in the country, which is, it's not where United want to be, but it's better than where they have been. I think they need to win the Europa League. I think Pogba will be happy if he gets another medal, because he didn't go there to win the Europa League. He went there to win the proper trophies of the Premier League and the Champions League. And Man City are a big roadblock at the minute in that respect. But United are making progress. But whether the progress will deliver in time to keep Pogba happy in the next 12 months, I don't know. But he's happier, and it's shown his performances.
23 games in a row now in the league without defeat away from home, which is incredible. I mean, I know the record is 27 by Arsenal of the Invincibles or whatever it was. But 23 away games, when you've been to City and to Spurs and to Liverpool and to Arsenal and to all those big clubs and Chelsea, and there were some really boring 0-0 draws in those games, and you and I were there for most of them, and it was not always pretty. But this is still an incredible achievement that I think that deserves a lot of credit for.
It's amazing. And I think you're right, those really boring draws at Liverpool and at Chelsea and at Arsenal, well, the last 2 big teams they've played away, City and Spurs, they've beaten well. So whether the penny has dropped and they've found a different way of playing now, we'll see when they play these teams again. But they are finding a way. We're showing a midweek in Granada. They just play so well away from home. They have to kind of find a way now to beat the more defensive teams at home, because the week before they played Brighton at Old Trafford, it was a real struggle to get the win. Because I think teams realise that if you sit back against United, they don't have that flair and quality, unless Pogba and Fernandes are playing well, to break teams down. So, but they're getting there. I think we've both been critical of Solskjaer in the past on the pod, and I think quite rightly so, but we have to give him credit.
Completely. I agree with
he's got them fit, he's beating the big teams. Next season is a big season, but they're all big seasons. I think with Solskjaer, he has to find a way that makes United distinctive, and give them a different kind of way of playing, a plan B, so they can win these games at home. But they are making progress. And if they finish second and win a trophy, then that is a very good season for Solskjaer.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we need to finish with that. I mean, I thought it was really petty between Solskjaer and Mourinho post-match to talk about the Son incident and VAR, and Solskjaer first saying that he stayed on the floor for 3 minutes and then he needed his 10 teammates to bring him back up, and if his son was doing that, he would not feed him food. Then Mourinho responding. What did you make of it? Was he aware from Mourinho as well to sort of deflect the attention to what Solskjaer said more than how bad his team were?
It was definitely a way for Mourinho to do it, because he actually brought it up in the press conference. He was asking why people hadn't asked him, but because it was a TV interview, nobody realised. So Jose saw that, he latched onto that as a chance to deflect attention. But
he's good on that.
It was a bit lame. I mean, Solskjaer's used this one before, this feeding his kid if he acted like that. But you know something, I like managers having rows. I mean, I covered United in the Fergie era, and I loved it when Sir Alex would have a go at Wenger or Benitez.
Yeah.
Some people might disagree, but I think it's the passion of the game, and I want to see more of Solskjaer having a go at managers. I think at times he's too nice on the touchline, he's too nice in the press conference.
I agree.
You know, tell us what you really think. And let's be honest, Mourinho won't particularly like Solskjaer because he lost his job to Solskjaer. He was replaced by a guy from Mulder, and that will hurt Mourinho. And Solskjaer inherited Mourinho's squad, which took a lot of rebuilding, so there'll definitely be a bit of needle there. So let's see it. Let's hear it. You know, let's have that little bit of an edge, and let's have it back to the old days when Fergie and Wenger were going at it, because that's what we remember. People still talk about it now, 20 years on.
Yeah, that's true. I like that. I like the idea. Okay,
it's great stuff.
That's good.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.